Howdy all, I'm Adam, Renaissance Nerd, and welcome back to Dune Prophecy, Episode 4 review. I'm going to wear the Santa hat today, because I got to have some fun when I do this, because this show is boring, it's lore-breaking, and it sniffs its own farts. And it's also, here's the worst stuff we're going to deal with today. It is, from my perspective, it is now trying to write the creation of famous things that Dune is known for, certain phrases. We're going to get there. We're going to do what we've been doing lately. It's so bloated and boring and stretched out that we're just going to go through it, and I'll comment as I go. It shouldn't take us too long. Anyway, we arrive on Wallach 9, and things seem weird as we start because the diverse acolyte sisters are, this one in particular, she's having a nightmare. She's having a nightmare because obviously reality's kind of twisted, this and that. And after she has a basically gank herself moment where she thinks she's going to be swallowed by a sandworm and she sees the blue eyes of Omnius again. We're going to get back to that. It's really, really getting annoying that they keep doing that. It turns out all the sisters, except for Ugly Fugly one here, are having nightmares. They're all having nightmares. And we're going to stick with this storyline for the moment because it's self-contained. It doesn't really affect the rest of the show. So what happens is Tula, in her ever-failing way to try and run things while Valia is off on Salusa Secundus, she decides to give all the girls some spice. Now, this is the first time I believe they are using spice at all. Outside of having her use the spice cloud on comatose little brown girl who failed her agony, she's now using spice to have all the girls relive their dream in a controlled state because it was a unified dream thing. Now, first of all, that doesn't make any damn sense because none of them have taken the agony, so it's not like they have evolved to that point where they're using the matriarchal memory storehouse to kind of go beyond the mental capacity of this and that. But at the same time, as I said, she makes it kind of clear in this explanation. It's the first time she's giving them spice to eat and open their minds. So how are they having unified visions? How is there a chain vision going on here? This is shitty writing. There's no explanation for any of this. They're just throwing shit out there and saying, oh, it's Dune. It sort of fits into the lore, kind of, with visions and prophecy and all that kind of stuff, because the show's called Prophecy. So we're just going to do it and not really explain it. That's not how it works when you're telling a story. It's one thing to lead along with a mystery, but we're 4 episodes in of, I think, a 6-episode season. I only think there's 2 episodes left. Last I checked, everybody was only listed for 6 episodes. It might be 8. They might have updated it last time I looked, but there's not that much left to this. Only a couple of episodes, at most 4. You got to start revealing shit, and it doesn't help. All right, I'll say it right now. With these visions that they keep having, because while they're going through the whole thing, they're all going to go to some sort of almost fear orgasm mental state as they all take the charcoal and they draw different things, worms, sand, this and that, shadows, and they all stop because, well, excuse me, they don't all stop. Tula tries to stop them, but they don't listen because they're too grabbed up in their orgasmic nightmare, all going, oh my God, they're all doing that shit. And then they all stop drawing the same picture, the glowing eyes in the darkness, the blue glowing eyes that makes the robotic sound, which is Omnius, who's off on another corner of the galaxy being put back together by Erasmus. But they don't talk about that at all. They haven't even used the word Omnius. They haven't even used the word Erasmus. So people coming into this who don't know the lore, they don't really know anything, because they haven't even given you a chance. I mean, they're smart enough to know that the blue eyes mean artificial intelligence. But they should be giving you more. We should have seen if they were smart, because Erasmus is roaming around out there. They should have had a whole segment of the show already showing Erasmus. Anyway, Tula can't wake them up until they reach that point, and they're all seeing the eyes of Omnius, and it's really getting annoying. It's really getting annoying that they keep doing this, because they keep throwing it out there with no link or explanation. But here's where they are going, I think. Because at one point, Tula and old sister lady there are having a conversation about, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? The girls are all so afraid they can't look past this point. Oh, does that sound familiar? That sound familiar when a Bene Gesserit tries to look into the future? There's a point in time where they cannot see, they cannot look, that eventually only the Kwisatz Haderach will be able to go and look. We'll come back to that. I think it's all leading to my theory that they made Desmond a proto-Kwisatz Haderach. It's all leading to that. All leading to anyway. So what's going to happen with the rest of this section of the show is at one point, Tool is going to be down in the archives. Basically, she falls asleep at the foot of the cube that's trying to revive little brown girl who failed the agony, but now she's in a spice cloud. She's going to fall asleep and have a nightmare about the sisters who had their nightmares, revealing the truth that they murdered Dorothea. Meanwhile, those girls are now embracing fake Dorothea's Orange Catholic Bible philosophy, which, yes, she did embrace that in the lore, but she had, as I mentioned in previous reviews, she had come to terms. As soon as she got Raquela's memories, she understood Raquela's plan and was ready to abandon everything in favor of the Sisterhood, not pushing against it, not rebelling. But all those girls are now going to go down Dorothea's Orange Catholic Bible path and be their own little splinter cell within the Bene Gesserit. Because they haven't even called it the Bene Gesserit yet. Goddamn. And meanwhile, so Tula's going to have her nightmare, and she's going to have a nightmare that they're going to break the silence, reveal the truth that Valia murdered Dorothea, and they all covered it up. Meanwhile, she gets snapped out of it, and she wakes up and discovers that brown girl who was in comatose because she didn't survive her agony is actually not comatose anymore. The plan with the spice worked, and she's wandering around. She's got the blue eyes. Suddenly, just a little bit of exposure for 24 hours? She's been comatose for 24 hours, so exposure to the spice is suddenly going to give her the blue eyes? That's not how it works. It takes years of exposure to spice to get the blue. So she's awake. Where am I? And she's surrounded by the AI. And of course, she's going to have to be brought into the fold. And now we got to worry. Is it really her? Is it an abomination? Are they going to acknowledge the fact that they possibly created an abomination? This show is retarded. But now let's go to the Salusa Secundus, where the rest of this god-awful wannabe Game of Thrones crap takes place. And that's the fun thing about the rest of this episode. It's wannabe Game of Thrones, which Game of Thrones copied Dune. George R.R. Martin copied Dune's political intrigue and did his own version of it. So it's copying the guy who copied this franchise first, trying to do his thing and do your own thing, but doing it horribly. These writers are terrible at political intrigue. It's not entertaining, it's boring, and it's freaking predictable. The thing that works with a political intrigue is when unpredictable events happen and make you go, oh, damn, they actually did that. Oh, wow. No, everything's predictable. Because we're on Salusa Secundus. We pick up where Valia went home to her Harkonnen estates on Salusa Secundus with the uncle who's actually dead but alive in this bastardization, yelling at her, welcome back. You shouldn't be here. You're a witch. You're evil. It's a whole bunch of bullshit where it's completely misframing Valia's loyalty to her house. Everything she did with Griffin before he died, as I explained in previous reviews, was done to push House Harkonnen back into prominence. The fact that this show has her abandoning her house for decades is bullshit. That is not her personality. That is not her modus operandi. Everything was done to get House Harkonnen back into the top of the Landsrad. Anyway, after some bullshit blah, 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 she convinces young Baron, whose name I don't know and don't give a frick about, to return to the Landsrad. She'll be his truthsayer. We're using truthsayer stuff again. So she's going to be his truthsayer, and she's got a whole plan. She's going to use undercover sister at the bar who wants to be terrorist with fake tradies to let the assassination plot of the Emperor and the Landsrad at the High Council meeting go to fruition so she can save everybody and help put Baron, I don't know your name and I don't give a damn, into the front of the limelight, and so he can be a hero and she can be a hero and once again gain the Emperor's ear. Well, that's not going to go to plan, because what's going on in Emperor Land are the Carinos are busy having basically family troubles because Slut Princess and weak-willed Prince Thirst Trap are not happy that Daddy Weak Strong is working with Travis Fimmel, Desmond Hart, and also Queen from The Witcher is also on board with working with Desmond Hart. They're not happy with that, and she's basically the whole Slutty Princess's whole arc in this episode is, I'm gonna betray my father because I don't like what he did to the little boy who got murdered, even though the retards who write this show forget that I threatened to kill him in the first episode myself. I hate this show. Right, so that's basically Slutty Princess. We don't need to go to her scenes. At one point, she's going to go to the bar where fake tradies and his terrorist buddies are hanging out, and she's going to want to get involved, but he tells her no. But she's going to get involved anyway, which causes fake tradies to sort of halt the attempt, even though the attempt was going to halt itself, as I'll tell you in a moment. Meanwhile, as I said, the Carinos are having problems because nobody's on the same boat. Weak Strong doesn't want to make a decision. He is cucked by everybody. It's going to be up to Queen from The Witcher to go to Travis Fimmel and say, listen, Weak Strong, he's just going to need a little push. He just needs a little push so that he knows the right to do the right thing, because I'm really in control, because I'm girl boss whammons. I've done it twice in 2 shows. You should trust me. I know what I'm doing. Anyway, so of course, Travis Fimmel is going to take the information she gives him to root out AI sympathizers, and he's going to go send off his men, his burgeoning Sardaukar, because I'm still holding on to that. This is not only a path to creating the idea of Proto-Kwisatz Haderach, but it's also, he's going to be the founder of the Sardaukar. I guarantee it. Right, so he's going to send those off, and let's just skip right to the big moment where everybody's converging on the Landsrad meeting, because what happens is during that, what happens is Valia uses her Sisterhood to convince all the nobles of the Landsrad to get behind Baron, whose name I don't know who the frick it is, don't care, to be the one to bring forth a proper investigation about House Carino, about the murder of the little boy who was, I guess, well, they're trying to paint it as, it was a murder, but then Travis Fimmel's going to say, no, it was an execution. We'll get to that in a second. Right, so that's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. It's all set up. So everybody concentrates at the High Council meeting. Supposed to be an assassination attempt, get everybody killed so that there's upheaval and this and that, and then Valia wants to save it and then pin it on fake Atreides so that she can continue her vendetta against the Atreides family. Right, so everything's going down, and Baron, what's his name, don't know it, don't care, gets up in front and goes to like, I'm gonna ready to bring forth this, and they all kind of make fun of him because his biggest fear is no respect. No respect. Right, so what happens is, oh no, I forgot a part. Excuse me, I forgot a part. I got so wrapped up, I forgot a part, which is very important at the end of the episode. At one point, before they all got started, Valia decided to browbeat the black sister, the diverse sister she brought with her, into doing something where she says, I can't do it. You promised I'd never have to do it. She says, it's your gift. I need you to do it. Well, we're going to find out what that is at the end, and it's more lore-breaking bullshit, which doesn't make sense in the scenarios that have been set up. Right, back to the Landsrad. So, High Council meeting, here comes Weak Strong, this and that. He's going to try and hold court, but then here comes Baron. Baron, what's his name, is about to begin the investigation, demand it, but then here comes Princess Slut to steal his thunder and cuck him so that he doesn't actually end up doing anything, and she's going to turn on her own father, and right as she's about to say, he murdered the boy, he had Travis Fimmel do it, Travis Fimmel says, yeah, I freaking did it. Now, I'm going to give a compliment to the show. I know, wow, I've been ranting and raving. Here's a compliment to the show. This scene where Travis Fimmel stands up and gives this bombastic, passionate speech about loyalty and traitorous stuff with the AI, it works. But it only works because Travis Fimmel goes full Travis Fimmel and chews up the scenery. That's the only reason it works. Travis Fimmel actually does a really great performance with the dialogue he's given. And you can feel the passion, you can feel it. And like I said, it's that way that Travis Fimmel kind of speaks. You're drawn into it. So he does a really good job here. The scene actually works where he says, you're all infested with poison, traitorous poison. Yeah, I killed him. I killed the boy because it was an execution because he broke our highest law. He used artificial intelligence. And there are others out here using it, and he snaps his fingers, and here come his boys, and they bring out all the would-be terrorists that work with fake tradies, and then fake tradies doesn't do he was about to take a vent off and where the drone was going to come in, but then he saw a fake slut princess, and he decided because he didn't want to kill her, because he kind of loves her in a very strange way because she's a slut princess. Who wouldn't love a slut princess that puts out all the time? He puts a great bug on. He watches in fear as his entire cohorts are busted. And Travis Fimmel says, these alt men are the traitors to the Empire. We cannot do this. We cannot give in to AI sympathies. And I'm going to kill them all, Emperor, if you give me the order. And Weekstrong goes, looking back and forth between him and Queen from The Witcher and this and that. And he gets basically cucked and maneuvering into doing it. And Travis Fimmel then uses his power and burns not only the would-be terrorists, but one of the nobles who was pushing Baron, I don't care what your name is, to get in there and call out the Emperor. So all people die in front of Fimmel, and Fimmel also starts to bleed from it, apparently. But while Fimmel is doing this, he has a vision of the sandworm, coming around, and within the sandworm sees the blue eyes of Omnius. After he's done, they're all dead. He had that vision. So I'm going to stop right here and say, once again, here's the evidence that they are trying to make him a proto-Kwisatz Haderach. And when all is said and done in this show, because he leaves his blood behind and Valia takes a sample of it to be analyzed, this is going to be the start of the breeding program to create a Kwisatz Haderach they can control, because they can't control Travis Fimmel. They can't control him. So now this is the impetus to creating a Kwisatz Haderach who can look in the place where they can't see it, because he sees what's coming in that vision. And it doesn't break him like it breaks the girls because they're afraid. And here's the other thing. They start, at one point, it's either Valia or Tula, I can't remember. They basically begin to create the litany, fear is the mind killer. I hate this show. So now we have multiple points where they're creating the genesis in their own fanfic way of famous Dune shit. Right. Post the execution. Sorry, it's execution because it was approved by the Emperor. Post execution. Travis Fimmel's in his room. Emperor comes in. We see this all kind of melting on his back from the bleeding and the scars from his ability. And basically, Weekstrong gives him the approval. You are here. You're my man. Likely, let's make Sardaukar. Then we cut back to House Harkonnen, and we have a confrontation between Valia and Uncle that should be dead, who's now about to die after she doesn't let him use his vape machine that helps his cough or his choking, whatever he's got. And after he yells at her about being a demon and a witch and this and that, and it's a lot of bullshit, which reinforces the fake storyline that she abandoned her house, which is bullshit. After it's all said and done, in comes Griffin. I know, wait, Griffin's dead. Well, and then he says to her, I forgive you. I understand I had to sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. And then as he walks away, he starts to transform. And you can see his facial features are blotting out. At first I thought it was just a vision, but no, it's a physical creature, because what happens is as he starts to walk away, you could see it turning back into diverse sister she brought with her, which means she's a face dancer. She's a face dancer. That's Bene Tylax territory. They haven't even mentioned Tylaxu at all in this. And there was no way the Tylaxu would let a face dancer off planet, because now they're beginning their experimentation making that shit. How is a face dancer in any of this? Well, that's the episode. We're done. I think I've explained everything along the way, how it's all crap, what I think they're doing, how it's breaking the lore, breaking the bullshit. This show is terrible. It's boring, continues to be boring, bloated, and now they are going down the path of explaining shit in their own way rather than from the actual lore. We'll see what happens. Episode 5 next week. Maybe I'll wear the Santa hat. Maybe I won't. If you had enough likes and comment enough, maybe I'll keep wearing the Santa hat while we're doing this because we are in the holidays. Woohoo! Merry Christmas! Some of you don't like it if I say that's a Merry Christmas. To those of you who had a good time. Anyway, we're done here. Thank you guys for watching this review. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.